Hey guys, this is Abhishek Ghosh and I'll be reviewing my Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. I live in the US and honestly it's been a great phone. Why I'm doing this review, I hope you could see this phone, under the view of maybe a college student, or if you're upgrading from anything from an iPhone X and above. Maybe not the 13 or 14, but iPhone X and above. So yeah, here's my overall review of the phone, and it's pretty great in general. I have all day battery life. I get a 4500 milliamp hour battery. The display is really great. AMOLED, display, HDR10, 16.7 million colors, and then it's truly great on that behalf. It's 3200 by 1440, 6.9 inch this way, and I get 12 GB of RAM, so I can play games and everything. Pretty great overall little phone. Some of the qualities of this phone that only Android has for this phone is Samsung DeX. That's really great. DeX, if you don't know it, it's literally a small computer. So you could plug this into an external monitor or per se a TV if you're traveling. And most modern TVs have USB-C, and you could plug it into DeX and get a full mini computer. So all you would have to carry is maybe a small Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and then maybe a small secondary powered display, and then hook it up via USB-C and the charging cable right here, which is pretty good, super fast charging. I believe this is 35 watt charging. Let's see, this is this is input, output. Doesn't exactly say on here, I'm not exactly seeing it, but I'm guessing 35 watt. Charges it super fast, probably give it 1 hour with the screen off and you're at full charge. It also has reverse wireless charging, so let's say you're on a trip. My dad has an iPhone 8 and battery life isn't as strong, so what I'll do is I'll turn on right here the reverse wireless charging, which is right here, power saving, no, wireless power sharing. So you can literally put a phone that has wireless, charging abilities right on the back of this phone and charge it. So if, your dad has an email or a ticket on his phone, you could charge it up per se in an emergency situation, 3 to 5% in maybe 45 minutes, if something more important is on that. Has airplane mode, pretty great cameras, has 128 gigabytes of storage standard. So look how many apps I have from here to here. So it's a lot of apps, but again, you have more than enough storage. And even if you want more storage, or per se you want to separate regular storage from maybe you're going on a trip, and you want photos, and you want to maybe edit some of the photos, what you could do is put up to a 1 terabyte micro SD card in the SIM card slot, which is up here, and you could actually get 1 terabyte and plus 128 gigabytes internal storage. So it's pretty big, per se. If you have a camera with a micro SD to SD converter and you take some photos on your camera, per se, when you're traveling, you could easily just go to Photoshop Express or something like that and edit some of the photos and really have a great time, and not mix per se your regular phone photos with your camera photos, or you want to dedicate an SD card to what you're traveling to, so you can keep it in the back or save it. Yeah, so the pixel density is around 496 pixel per square inch, so pretty good. It comes 120 hertz refresh rate, but not at the highest setting, and that's okay. I like the highest setting, so for quality, as WQHD plus, and that's a 3088 by 144. But if you want 120 hertz, you could turn it to FHD plus and get 2316 by 1080. So it's really great. And for media consumption, covers the whole phone. On the front, you have a 10 megapixel main camera that's about, I believe, 80 degrees with dual pixel autofocus, so really locks onto your subject overall. So if you have a big party or gathering with others, you're never really going to miss the shot, even in low light, you know. On the back you have a 12 megapixel main camera, which is right here, and then you got, sorry, 108 megapixel main camera with f1.8 with about 79 degrees. Your ultra wide, which is I believe 12 megapixels, that's 120 degrees, f2.2, so a little bit dimmer, but overall if you're trying to capture everybody in the photo, it can do it, you know. And you could also be close to large subjects and still get all of the things you need in the photo, so that's really great. And they have a 50x f3 20 degree view, so that's really good for zooming in shots and other things like that. It has laser autofocus in your flash right here. So laser autofocus is more in cinema cameras. So if you look at cinema cameras or high-end Alexas and things like that, those have laser autofocus where you attach a secondary unit to the top of the camera, and it uses that through some motors and actually locks onto your focus using lasers and times the lasers. So it uses that exact same feature, but just on a smaller scale. Overall, in-body stabilization is pretty great. I'll share some photos that I've taken over the years. So yeah, it comes with 8-core, 3.6 gigahertz Snapdragon 865 plus 5G. So in 5G enabled areas, you could have full coverage with no issue, you know, no drops or anything like that. You know, it's pretty great. It runs One UI 2.5 Android 10. You know, and it's really a great overall phone. So if you're looking to upgrade from Apple, you know, or if you're stuck in that ecosystem and, you know, you gotta pay for storage, and, you know, every year you're paying $150 for batteries, you know, or battery replacement, it's truly great. I've never ever had an issue with this battery. Last me all day long, and I'm pretty sure at 120 hertz, I think it would last about, I think half the amount, so probably right at 6 hours, but overall it can last all day for, you know, 12 plus hours if you use it right without heavy duty use for, say, calling or photos. But again, you know, you have fast charging. Within 1 hour, you know, you can charge this phone fully up. Another great thing is USB-C. So USB-C, you can connect this USB-C cable here and then connect it to a computer and have DeX enabled. So you could easily just have a micro computer that you could do basic things like emails, edit photos, other things like that, wherever you're going. And in doing so, you know, you really get the ultimate use of this phone. For some reason, my S Pen also is not working, but, you know, you could always use it for remote shutter, notes, other things like that. So that's something that's really special on this phone too, that not a lot of, actually almost no phones have. Maybe Motorola, a couple Motorola phones, maybe a couple of phones out there, but I don't think very few phones do it like, you know, Samsung does it. Another thing is it's HDR10 plus, so, you know, you're not really losing any resolution when it comes to video watching or anything like that. So yeah, water resistant up to 5 feet, so that's pretty great, you know, having that water resistance and everything like that. So if you're looking for a decent phone that's, what, maybe around Black Friday, I think would drop to $880 maybe. Truly a great phone. And what do you get in the package? You get your charger, USB-C cable, headphones, and your phone itself with a SIM ejector tool and the box. I don't have the box with me at the moment, but you can just understand it's just a regular phone box, just like Apple, you know. So the speakers are also something really great, you know. So for media consumption, you have one front-facing speaker here, and then you have one smaller one for your calls. So per se, if you have one large front-facing speaker here, half, and then you have one small one for your calls, and then you have also one big one right here on the bottom. So speaker, you know, output is really great. So if you're in a big room and you want to listen to music or share the music, really, you know, great on that behalf. You know, you will sometimes need a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and I have that, you know, but really, you know, most people, if they're affording a phone this big, honestly, you could spend 20, 25 bucks, 30 bucks extra and get Bluetooth headphones that are, pretty good, so I wouldn't really recommend doing that. But overall, when it comes to the phone in general, truly great. So it's 3" by 6.5" and it's 0.3 inches deep. So it's a big phone, I would say, but not, like the, phone after this with a 888 chip, where you have the S Pen, but it's on the side, so it adds a whole extra couple centimeters. So it's still easy-ish to grip, but I would say it wouldn't fit in all pockets. So if you're a larger human being, this phone might be a little bit easier to use. But if you're a college student, that's my view, that it's truly great. You could use it for maps in the morning if you're trying to commute to campus. You could use it for phone calls if someone's calling you, the verification, whatever you need as a college student. It really does all that you need and more. And sometimes it's a little bit finicky. Sometimes calls are randomly there, and yeah, you do need a voicemail system. You don't get that on this phone, but overall, in general, like, very few issues with this phone. Sometimes it's a little bit buggy with some apps. I do agree on that. Not all Android phones are the same, and if Android were to per se make it like Apple, where they only make a couple of phones and try to streamline each phone for each app, it'd cost them so much money. So they wanted an overall great-ish system, but not as seamless as Apple when it comes to most apps. So like per se, I'd say Snapchat and low light, it sort of suffers, so yeah. Oh, you also have a under display ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is really, really great. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes my hands are a little bit oily, so you need to wash it off. So yeah, it's pretty good. You need a medium-ish amount of pressure. One thing that's a little bit annoying is that the volume rockers and the power button are on the same side, so sometimes you can confuse them. But you could use the volume rockers as a shutter button, dedicated shutter button right here. So, and you can take your photos. So yeah, recording is pretty great too. So video, you can go all the way up to 8K, full HD, and you can go more. You can go to Pro Video, Pro Photo, so you could edit all of your settings per se. So I have it for nightography or night photography, and so it's pretty bright right now, but you could easily just bump up the thing right here, ISO, let's go 500, manual focus, auto, and laser. And the manual focus, you could see what's highlighted in the green sometimes, so you'll be able to see the highlights of the green. So just like a Sony camera, it uses like that. White balance, if you want more red versus blue, or green actually, you could do that. So if you're per se in an icy or glacial area, you're gonna have more blue, so your white balance might want to be more red, so it's cutting out that blue light all the time. Has night mode, so sleep mode, so it goes yellow. Power saving, airplane mode. Flashlight is pretty bright. Oh, can't use it in the camera app, but flashlight is pretty bright. 5 settings to the flashlight, so I usually keep it on the highest and turn it on and off. Mobile hotspot, so that's really good. Screen recording, press the on and lower button for volume to take a screenshot. Dolby Atmos sound, that's really great when you have good headphones plugged in. Get full surround sound on that. S Pen right there, obviously. DeX, Smart View, so you could mirror this device to a smart device. So per se, if you have a video on here or something like that, or you haven't fully set up your smart device or anything like that, have signed into it, or can be kind of finicky, what you could do is just screen mirror what you're watching. Per se, if you downloaded a movie from Disney Plus or something like that, you could screen mirror to a Blu-ray player or something like that. So that's really, really great. NFC enabled, so I use a Sony a6000 camera, and so I could literally just touch my camera to my phone and it'll start to load photos, scan QR code, Wi-Fi calling, enhanced processing. live captions, so that's pretty great if you need captions. Overall, as a phone goes, you really can't get better than this. I've never had an issue really that's major that I couldn't resolve with maybe a phone restart, you know. Yeah, it won't be as seamless as Apple, you know, but it'll definitely be cheaper overall. And I've had this phone for 2 years, so if you're planning on getting this phone, I'd get it now because you'll have another, I believe, 2 years of software updates for sure. So this phone is enabled for 4 years of software updates. So that's really something great, you know. My last phone I had was an iPhone SE. I had a battery problem almost every year. Software updates slowed down my phone almost immediately, but without them, couldn't hardly ever use anything. And yeah, the chipset in that is great, but the overall phone wasn't, you know. And I've had that issue with Apple, you know, multiple times, you know, even with that phone, you know, with Apple products, other things like that, you know. So overall, like if you're not looking to upgrade your phone every year, or if you're not looking for, you know, the most seamless anything, you know, it's a superbly great phone, you know. um, OLED, so it's really really bright on the OLED, and you know, it's truly a great camera. So yeah, any questions about this phone, please contact me in the description, and yeah, have a great day. Signing off. Bye.
These are some of the photos I took with my Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra while I was in Iceland over the 2022 summer. So I hope you enjoy some of these photos. Sponsors that I'm trying to get is Four Seasons Vale. I'd love to take my friends up, like three of my friends, to Four Seasons Vale and just have a good time during some of the holidays. So another sponsor I'm trying to get is Porsche and State Farm. I'd love to perhaps, review and, receive a Cayman, and compare it to my dad's Cayenne, four-seat double clutch with an auto, that would be the closest comparison, to my dad's car. I'd also love to take it to SEMA 2023 and, show up to it via Thanksgiving, maybe, Obviously, if I get that car, another sponsor that I'd for sure need would be State Farm. It'd be so dope if they could sponsor me till I'm 21. Obviously the insurance on that car would be extremely high. Yeah, so yeah. Another sponsor I'm trying to get is Samsung. If you guys could help me out, I'd love to review the flip phone and send it out to my sister. Maybe I can convert her over to Apple, or from Apple to Samsung. And she grew up in the era of the flip phone, so she grew up, and I believe her first phone was the Virgin Mobile white and red phone. Another sponsor I'm trying to get is Sony. I'd love to kit the house out with two TVs, one 75-inch and one 120-inch 4K TVs. I'd also love to get Asus as a sponsor. I'd love to review your ROG Phone 5 Pro with the AAA chip and compare it to my Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. And then I'd also love to review the Flow X13 with the pen. I've always been looking for a good, powerful travel computer, and anything that's high spec or, reasonable is either really just not there, or just really hard to carry during travel. So I'd love to maybe review that. Thread Beast and Dr. Squatch, just basic, human, like looking and smelling good, that'd be also a really dope sponsor. Another one would be Current. I'll leave my Current link down below in the description. And if 200 of you guys sign up and was it roughly enter in, I believe, $200 direct deposit, we would both receive up to $50. I could do one gigantic jewelry haul. That'll be $8,400, and if 200 of you guys sign up, it'll just be enough. What is it, to get all of the jewelry for that one big haul? Um, yeah, and also the last sponsor I'm trying to get is Lufthansa. We'll be flying Lufthansa in the winter to go to India. It'd be so dope to review your DIA and your Frankfurt was it locations where the was it lounges are. That'd be so cool. So hit me up if you guys can make any of these sponsors happen, and enjoy. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.